Good morning. It's kind of a nice day. It's a bit foggy, but the sun is out, which better than rain, to be honest. And yeah, we have quite exciting news coming up. But first I need to muck out the chickens and maybe spread some leaf mulch in the olive grove for our garden. But yeah, let me get the chickens out and then we'll share our exciting news, I think. So yeah, we got free land. Okay, now you're gonna be like, wait a minute, didn't you just make a video like 2 months ago about how overwhelmed you are with the amount of work you have on your land? And to that I can say, yeah, we still are slightly overwhelmed, but we're working on that. And the second answer to that is because it's like such a non-committal thing right now and we're just literally pasturing our pigs here, this is not really adding to our stress, it's actually alleviating some stress because there's so much grass here and so much area that we can use now just to pasture our pigs that it actually takes a bit of stress off our shoulders, because when we don't have a space for the pigs and we can't really move them, we can just move them here for like a week or two and they can just live off grass. They don't even need much extra feed, and that's pretty awesome. Now you're probably wondering, how do I get free land in Portugal? The short answer is you speak with your neighbors that have abandoned their plots, if you can find them. And the long answer is you are just the beneficiary of a long process of Portugal just becoming empty. Last week we talked with a neighbor who doesn't live here anymore. He just comes here every once in a while to clean the land. And this is something that we kind of always wanted to do, and he agreed to it. We can use his land that he has abandoned essentially as pasture for our pigs. Now basically what we did is we spoke with our neighbor when we found him, and we made an agreement. He comes out here from Lisbon once or twice a year to clear the land, and we just made an agreement like we're going to help him clear this land with our pigs and he doesn't have to do as much work essentially. It's just a good deal for everyone involved, and this land is pretty awesome. We have lavadas everywhere. Lavadas are like an old waterway system that is across this entire land, and we don't even have to really water our pigs this way because the water just flows past them. And yeah, people used to grow on this terrace. Like our neighbor said that he used to grow pumpkins along the water edge. Like he just put seeds in the ground and the pumpkins would just come up, and he would put his ducks on here and his other animals. And yeah, it's just a really easy way to grow, and we would love to do that as well, but right now there's just such an overpopulation of javali, like the wild boar, that we can't do that unless we have a really good fence set up, and we just don't have time for that right now. But maybe we'll just put some pumpkin seeds in as well and just see how it goes in the summer. Who knows, maybe it will work out well. Now, if you ever traveled through the interior of Portugal, you will notice that there's two things in abundance here. One is eucalyptus plantations, and the second thing is abandoned homes and homes for sale. And this is one of the reasons why we could have this piece of land now, and it's actually a really sad reason. This process of Portugal becoming empty obviously started back during the dictatorship, when people left the country because they had nowhere else to go. They left for France, for Spain, literally anywhere they could go. And yeah, Portugal is just continues to hemorrhage people, really. There's a bunch of people coming in, but it's not enough to make up for the fact that a lot of the population is overaged and will retire soon, and the whole social system can't really cope with that at this point. Salazar's regime really stifled technological advance, and so even after the revolution, which was actually a working class revolution that you should really look into because it's a really interesting topic. Yeah, so even after the revolution, the country was still terribly poor because it was a country of peasants, and thus people kept leaving, and with the advent of the European Union, obviously that whole problem just increased because people couldn't move anywhere, like I did. I packed up and moved to Iceland when I was 18, and I just lived and worked there for 3 years, and it was super easy. Why wouldn't you do that if you could? So in a way right now, like in a lot of poorer European countries, the EU is at fault for their lack of people and for their poverty. And I don't think there is a solution to that currently, and there probably won't be one in the future, because the richer nations just benefit from the system. But yeah, it's just a sad case. Obviously, I'm really happy that we got this additional pasture land, but at the same time, it kind of makes me really sad, because it's just the symptom of this ongoing loss of knowledge that is happening here as well. Like I said, there's really sophisticated water systems all over this land. Like even on our own lands, there's these water systems everywhere, and we just don't know how they work. We have to figure it out by ourselves, because the people who used to use them are dead or they moved away, and that knowledge is just gone. Now, obviously this is a bit easier to work out, but it's still just part of this whole process of the dying of knowledge, and it just makes me really sad. It just makes me sad to see that happening. Like, also just knowing how people used to live here would make such a positive impact on our lives right now, because it would just save us a lot of Googling and watching YouTube and figuring out how people used to do things around here. Obviously, I don't mind anyone who wants to leave his home for a better life. I left my own country. Germany invested a lot of money into my education. My parents invested some money into my education as well, and I left. I'm not a resource for that country anymore. And the same thing happens in Portugal, but it happens at this very unsustainable rate. And I think going into the future, this lack of knowledge will have a really negative impact on the entire country, and there's nothing we can do about it right now. There's a lot of people like us kind of moving in, but it's not enough. We're figuring it out with historical resources and talking with the neighbors that do still live here, but it's a lot of hard work that could be considerably shortened if people were still here, if people would still own their ancestral homes. But that's just not the case. So we're going to use this land, we're going to try a few things out and hope for the best. Now, this whole topic is kind of a bit too complex to talk about it in one single video. But another thing to add to this whole conundrum would be that right now, like with the influx of foreigners, especially from the richer northern European countries, a lot of Portuguese people who might want to return to their grandparents' villages are priced out of the market, because us northern Europeans just can pay really highly inflated prices that Portuguese people often can't afford. Good morning. I just fed the chickens and the pigs. It's really cold. But today is the last day of the year. Today is supposed to be a last sunny day before another severe weather events that we've been having. I feel like every week, every time I get this alert now, I'm like, I don't care. I can't find it in myself to care for a severe weather alert. We just stay inside and just don't do anything. But yeah, I have to say I'm really over this weather. We've been living in a cloud almost for like 2 months. We've barely seen the sun. I think the days that I've seen the sun I can count on one hand. And I'm ready for this to be over, honestly. I can't wait for summer. I can't wait for a hot, dry summer, actually, which I didn't think would be the case last summer. But yeah, it's just a lot of rain. The chickens are quite miserable. They haven't been laying. Ever since it started really like chucking down, we haven't had a single egg from these chickens. They are miserable. Although we tried to really improve their coop, we put some extra plastic on the outside to keep them drier. And we put some plastic onto their laying boxes to keep them drier. They just, I don't think they're exactly happy. So we've just been feeding them and get nothing in return, which is kind of not how we envisioned this, but just have to live with it. Yeah. So yeah, today, if we can, we will focus on work in the garden, which is really exciting that we finally get to make a start on it. We're gonna put some leaf mulch up from down here. There's like so many leaves falling from the oak trees. We're gonna steal a bit from down here, put it up in the garden, and yeah, just kind of decide where beds will go really. And then we'll batten down for the next 2 days of rain, and then I think we have a week of sunshine in the forecast, which I'm just so excited for. We can do all the laundry finally, like, and just dry things out that are just wet. Can't wait. The day has kind of passed faster than anticipated. Also, it's kind of dark today. We're gonna get the rain really soon, but it was quite productive, I would say. Not as productive as I thought it would be, but that's just always the case. Something comes in between and you just don't get the things done that you wanted to get done. But I made some progress on the garden beds. This is annoying me. So we're just getting some leaf mulch up, and I got some old straw from the chicken run. We're gonna get the compost from the chicken run up really soon as well. And we're gonna start lining the beds with just tree trunks, whatever we can find really. And yeah, we're gonna have the mulch at the bottom. Ideally we would obviously rip up the leaves and shred them a bit more, but they're really wet, so it's gonna take hours. So I'm just gonna put them down. Everything here, all the beds that we have, will be tarped, so any weeds die back before we plant into them in spring. And yeah, I'm quite happy. To be honest, these days everything is just dictated by the weather. When it's not raining, we're doing the most pressing outdoor tasks, like cutting firewood and working in the garden here. We're going to start working on the fence really soon, and whenever it's raining we work on the wall in the house and just trying to raise that up, because that's like a sheltered activity that you can do. But yeah, it's been a bit tough with the rains, finding things to do. But yeah, now we start out on the wall. Whenever we have the time and whenever it's raining, we just lay a few rows and then just kind of do as we go. We don't want to stress us too much because that hasn't been beneficial in the past, and this system is kind of working right now. So yeah, I'm gonna make dinner now, and this is gonna be finished another day, another few days probably. But yeah, I'm quite excited to plant into here in the spring. It's okay. No! No!